Hello and welcome back. Now if you've seen the first part of this, you'll see where we actually made this little painting. There you go. It's a fantastic multicoloured painting that we did with some stretch wrap and some old paint that we found lying around in the drawer. So this is where we paint away the stress of everyday life here in Wales. And if you're new to the channel, please take a moment to subscribe because I upload every Monday. Give me a thumbs up if you like the video and drop me a comment and let me know any of your questions, or if you don't like it for any reason, just let me know why and I can correct anything. I want to make everybody happy in the world. That's what I want. As you can see, I've got a wide range of colours here today. This is going to be a quick painting on this background. Now, these colours I used when we created the background. So these were all bits of paints that I had lying around, including this old flesh tint, which is everybody should have one of them in the drawer and never used it. So why not use it for this type of thing? Now, I'm going to just put some of these one side because I'm just going to pick a couple of colours. I'm going to start off with some of this permanent alizarin crimson. Why? Because it's quite old and I quite like permanent alizarin crimson anyway. What's the shelf life on paint? Well, it can be up to several years in fact, but the thing is, you've got to make sure that you keep these things airtight. You keep the lids on them like that. Make sure you clean the tops. Don't do what I do. Look at that. You should always clean the tops off well and keep them in a nice cool area, something like a drawer or something like that, and you'll be fine for a number of years. But sometimes these paints do separate over time, so when you squeeze your paint out like that, sometimes you might see there's some clear liquid, and that is the actual acrylic resin that's separated from the pigment mix itself. So just get a palette knife or a spoon or a brush and just mix it together. Again, it's going to be fine. So I got some cobalt blue as well. I'm just going to squeeze a bit of that out. You can see that's a lot thicker, so that's dried up in fact. That is actually drying in the tube, so maybe the top wasn't screwed on correctly. So we need to make sure that we clean these grooves and tighten that up really well before we put it in the drawer. I'm just going to get a little bit of white as well. There you go. So I got 4 colours there. Permanent alizarin crimson, some black. Doesn't matter what black, it could be any black whatsoever, makes no difference. I'm just picking up a short flat. That's one of these little things. And let's get on to this painting and see what we can do with it. First of all, I'm going to pick up some white and I'm going to put a circle there like that. Now, this background I did, this is the first time I ever tried it with cling film, stretch wrap. It's not the one I made previously or earlier on another lesson, which is in the iCards, by the way. If you want to see how I've done this background, click the iCards by there, and that's going to take you on to that. So I'm just going to put a bit of white by there. I'm going to get a bit of blue, and I'm just going to paint in a bit of blue like that, trying to maintain that circle effect like this. Yes, this was the first one I did, and I was quite impressed with it actually. I thought, oh, that's cool. Can make a nice lesson out of that. So I thought I'd do. And if you've never painted before, this is actually designed for you, so you don't have to really worry about perspectives and things like that. It's a bit more of an abstract-y type of painting. And please pick up a paintbrush or some cling film and some old paints if you've got some, or even some new paints. It doesn't really matter, does it? But whatever. And you can put this on quite thick, quite impasto, a thickness of a paint. When you get a rough thickness of paint on a canvas or a panel or something like that, it's called impasto. Very, very, very important to remember these technical terms, so you sound as if you know what you're talking about. I've taken years to waffle my way through with painting. So let's get some alizarin crimson, and let's just put some nice red alizarin crimson. Alizarin crimson can be a little bit transparent. If you find it's too transparent, just add a little bit of cadmium red to it, and it won't change the colour that much. But what it will do is it will just make it a little bit more opaque if you want to, or add a small amount of black. That's going to darken the colour, by the way. Small amount of black. We're going to be adding black in 1 second. It's been quite warm in Wales this year. Currently the children are off school on their summer holidays. This is their 6 weeks holiday, which is quite nice. I remember my 6 weeks holidays as a child, and we always used to have blazing sunshine, always blazing sunshine, and we used to be out and playing around in the fields and stuff like that, and I hope the kids have got that this year, because it's been about 10 years since we've had some heat like we've been having in Wales this year, and it's been up in 30 degrees centigrade. I don't know what that is. I think that's about 80 or 90 Fahrenheit, which is not hot compared to some parts of the world, but it's certainly hot here in Wales. And but it's really nice to. I'm going to add in some black now just to give it a little bit of contrast, and you can see that's going to merge into that alizarin and crimson like that. So I'm just hoping that we won't have a very hard winter. Normally, if we have a hot summer, it's followed by a bad winter. But there we go. We can make some snowmen and we'll all be happy then. Little robin redbreasts going around collecting their food for the winter. You'll see all this wonderful wildlife when we're out and about. I'm going to add a bit more black just to give it another dimension. I'm not worried about how thin or how thick this paint goes on. If it's got a little bit of texture to it, or impasto as we said, then that's fine. And that's all we want. It's simple as that. So this is a very simple, easy painting that you can create at home with the children, on your own. If you've never painted before, you don't even have to worry about picking up a paintbrush. So I'm just going to put that paintbrush, in fact, into some water. I'm going to pick up, let me see, what brush can I use? Does it matter what brush you use? Well, it doesn't really matter, does it? You just use whatever you want. I'm going to use a round brush, or a detail brush, as we call it in the UK. There we go. And I'm going to put in an almighty tree, I think, today. There we go. I'm not worried about thinning my paint down too much today. I'm just going to take that across there like that. You want a little bit of moisture. Let's get a little bit of moisture. We got some water in there. This is just ordinary tap water. That's fine. Ordinary tap water works really well. But just be mindful that you don't over-thin your paints a lot. You've heard me talking about over-thinning your paints in other videos, and that is very, very important. That you don't over-thin these paints much. And just come up with a design. Now, it doesn't have to be a tree. It doesn't have to be a tree at all. This could be, you could do a giraffe or a lion or whatever type of animal that you like. I'm just going to take that across there like that. There we are. It could be anything you like. And because this is an abstract, it doesn't even have to look like a tree, so you can get away with that as well. It's so much fun painting things like abstracts, because even though it looks like a tree, it doesn't have to represent a tree, does it? It doesn't have to be perfectly tree-like. This is what I'm trying to say. It's not easy. I can let you into a little secret. It is currently 5 o'clock in the morning here, and it's been so hot in Wales that I find myself making videos at stupid o'clock every morning just to get some content out for your wonderful subscribers. And as I said, this is the first time you've ever joined me in the studio, then please subscribe. That's all I ask. It doesn't cost nothing. It's free. And all you get is content every Monday at 7:30. So if it's free, give it a whirl. Give it a whirl. You might know somebody that likes painting. So just pass my details on to them and let them have the joy of painting with myself in the studio on a weekly basis here in Wales. I'm painting away the stress of everyday life. There we go. And we're going to put another one just like that. Don't have to follow this pattern exactly. You make the pattern up yourself. And there's a little bit of paint break there. Look, where the paint hasn't actually covered. Good, leave it. Don't worry about it. We don't worry about stress and stuff like that in the studio. Certainly not here in Wales anyway. All I want to do is just to create something that represents a little bit of mindfulness, I think, is the word I was looking for there. We put a little bit of red in. We can add a little bit of white. Let's add a little bit of white into that. There you go. Not too much to make it too pinky, but just enough to lighten it a touch. And then we can just put a little bit of colour here and there, and there and here. What a wonderful way to do a simple, easy painting. Children can do this, you can do this. You can do this with me in the studio on a weekly basis. As I said, please subscribe, that's all I ask. Give me a thumbs up, let me know what you think of this, and please have fun. Have a try of the both parts of this video. They will both be in the iCards, so no matter which video you're watching first, there's always the other part is there for you. So have fun and paint away that stress of everyday life with me in Wales, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.